you were Mr. Football in high school. You played, college football, and I'll let you get into that in a second too. But you have all these successes in this arena, and now that chapter, so to speak, is over. So that was a big struggle for me. Has that been a struggle for you?
Definitely at the time it was a struggle. I was, like you said, I was Mr. Football in high school. I went on to play at the Naval Academy, so I had all intentions of, taking it to the next level. I
100%.
wanted to play in the NFL at some point. That was always my dream.
Yeah. When you came in and you were like, my football career's over, I'm ready to work, I was like, heck yeah, dude. I was scared to death because I had never had nobody that worked with me in that regard. So I was like, all right, well, now it's a newfound pressure because I got to make sure that I'm doing the thing so that, people continue to come in the door for Biggs Financial so that he has as much opportunity from me that he doesn't have to worry about. Like, so it added a lot real quick. But I remember like he left and I was like, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. What would you say for an athlete that is coming out of their career, whether they like the way that it ended or not?
I would encourage all the athletes that get to the point that I was at in 2021 to
The Mark Biggs Show.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Mark Biggs Show. Super excited about our guest today. Number one, I'm super excited because we are in Los Angeles, California, right under the Hollywood sign, as you can see. So super excited to be coming to you from LA. We're out here on a work trip with our investment partners, getting some work done, but wanted to take the time to shoot a podcast out here. Thought it'd be really neat, and I'm super excited for who my guest is today. I get to work alongside this dude each and every day, and Jamale's become one of my best friends in the world. I'd run through a brick wall for this guy, as anybody that knows me knows. So I'm super excited for you guys to meet Jamale today and to learn a little bit about what he has to offer from his experiences, his insights. It's really neat, I think, as we've gotten closer to see how our stories align. They're different, but they're very similar in a bunch of different ways, just, with sports and transitioning into business. So it's really neat. But a guy that you can learn a lot from. So I hope that this provides you value today. Jamale, thanks for coming on, bro.
Thanks for having me, bro. I'm really excited about our conversation we're going to have today.
100%. So where I want to lead with is one of the things that I think was tough for me coming out of sports was changing from just an athlete to, a business person, a trusted leader in a professional sense. That was one of the biggest, I think, struggles that I had coming out of baseball because, when you finish with football, you started at the office with me, working and learning just kind of like I did coming out of baseball. And it was a real struggle for me to break, and it's not a bad stigma, but it's just what people know you as.
Right.
You were Mr. Football in high school. You played, college football, and I'll let you get into that in a second too. But you have all these successes in this arena, and now that chapter, so to speak, is over. So that was a big struggle for me. Has that been a struggle for you?
Definitely at the time it was a struggle. I was, like you said, I was Mr. Football in high school. I went on to play at the Naval Academy, so I had all intentions of, taking it to the next level. 100%. I wanted to play in the NFL at some point. That was always my dream.
Yeah, there's no point in going to college to play if you're not trying to go to the NFL, right?
Right. So that was always my goal in mind. Every time I worked out, I thought about it, and I even, at a certain point in my college career, I thought that was going to be an option for me. It didn't turn out that way, so right when I got to that point, I'm at this crossroads. It's like I continue playing college football or I can start my, career. Yep. Whatever I see that I want to do, I can start that now. And at that point, it's kind of like, dang, like I didn't achieve that goal.
Yeah.
But at that time, I just relied on all the things that my parents taught me, just all the experiences I had up until that point.
Sure. In
the real world. It's just like, yeah, this isn't happening. I'm not going to achieve this goal, but there's so much more life out there for me.
100%.
So thankfully, I have the support system I do and people like you to help me, guide me through that transition. So I wasn't in that mood long to where I felt like, it's a struggle between me being an athlete and me being a businessman or, a person that, is starting his new career.
Sure.
So
and that's one of the beautiful things I think about you, honestly, is that you're a realist in the sense of like you can look at the grand scheme of things and understand, I didn't necessarily achieve this. I still got further than, I don't know what the percentages are in baseball. If you got to college baseball, you're part of the 97 percentile or whatever it is.
Right.
So you've gotten so much further than most people, 95 to 100%, 95 to 98% of people. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about you is like you can take that. You don't like rest on that because you don't need someone to pat you on the back, but you can also be like, that's over. but I also believe in myself for what's next too.
Right.
So did you ever see yourself doing what you do now?
No, not in any way.
That's the beautiful thing.
I love math. I love money. I love the things that I do now.
Yep.
But honestly, I didn't think I would be doing it. If you ask anybody that grew up around me, I thought I was going to be a dentist before I got to college. I thought that's what I wanted to do.
That's cool. Fun fact: when I was going to, I was signed to play baseball at U of L at a high school. I was going to go to the University of Louisville. I was going to do pre-med and try to become like some type of doctor, orthopedic surgeon, something along that route. Anybody that knows me knows I have a tremendously shaky hand, so that would have never worked. I'd have made people with the ugly scars and everything. But that's what I wanted to do too.
Right.
So truly, I never thought that I would be doing what I do now either. Right. What would you say has been, I guess, the toughest, most challenging thing for you making the shift from athlete into I've got a new career, I've got to build a clientele, I've got to learn a new craft? What's been the biggest struggle for you?
I want to say in athletics, there's always a direct goal that I'm chasing after.
Yep.
There's always something that I can point I'm playing this team or my team is trying to achieve this goal. Obviously, we're always looking for a championship.
Right.
In business, there is no set championship. There's not
Numbers
something they never end. It keeps going. There's no off season every day. With us being self-employed, there's always something new that we're trying to achieve or something that we're trying to go after. So I feel like that's the difference between business and
that's a great point. I've never even thought of it that way, but that's so true. Because if you're working towards the NFL and you know that a combine's coming up or a workout for a team's coming up, you know that I've got to go do these things each and every day to be my sharpest and my best.
Right.
For a specific point in time. That's such a great point. I never even thought of it that way. Give the people that don't know a little bit of a 10,000 foot view from you. Bowling Green High School, running back, standout, Mr. Football. From that point until now, give them a 10,000 foot view of what your life.
Yeah, for sure. So once I graduated from Bowling Green High School in 2017, I went to the Naval Academy prep school in Newport, Rhode Island. Played football there. Went to school there. I learned a lot, met a lot of good people. I mean, people that were in my wedding last year from those experiences. So I went to prep school, and then from there on, I went to the Naval Academy in 2018. So it was a great experience, different experience. I learned a lot about discipline and becoming who I am as a man. From those experiences, first time ever, really away from home.
The first thing that I tell people about you when they ask about you is how disciplined you are and how good of a character person you are. I always tell people you'll never find a better person than Jamale Carothers. Has that discipline and character, did you have that as a kid too, or do you think the Naval Academy gave that to you? Mm-hmm. Not gave it to you. Let me rephrase that. Did it just sharpen that was already there for you? Were you always a disciplined kid?
Yeah, I would say it sharpened it.
Okay.
Sharpened it for me. I think growing up, I knew, I was very driven and focused on my goals, and that's what my dad always preached to me, all these things throughout my life. But the Naval Academy definitely gave me a different perspective.
Well, you really don't have a choice at that point, right? Yeah. I mean, you're going to do that, or you're not going to be at the Naval Academy, right?
For sure. So I had a lot of friends. I saw a lot of people come there at the Naval Academy and see what it was like, and then they're like, I don't want to do this.
Honestly, I couldn't do it personally. I'm a disciplined guy in most areas of my life except for food. We talk about that all the time, but I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I just don't think I would succeed and thrive there. So how long were you at the Naval Academy?
I was at the Naval Academy for 3 years, and then at that point I played football and went to school there. I had learned a lot about finance. I was a quantitative economics major there, and then at that point I shifted because I thought it was a better decision for me, my family, and then also playing sports to transfer to Western Kentucky. So transferred back home to Bowling Green. At that point,
Let me interject one thing. Before he transferred, he scored 5 touchdowns in a game against Tulsa.
Against Houston.
Against Houston, excuse me. Yeah. Man scored 5 touchdowns in one game for the Naval Academy. I knew he was going to breeze over that, so I had to just throw that out there.
So we had a good time in our football season in 2019. We actually went 11-2 to add to that. So we played in the Liberty Bowl down in Memphis, and we beat Kansas State. So had some great football experiences at
Playing
Navy.
the Army-Navy game had to be one of the best ones, I would assume. Was one of them, I think I remember you telling me this before, was that Lincoln Financial?
Yeah, Lincoln Financial, right? The Philadelphia Eagles field.
And the president comes in to address the locker rooms, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's got to be such a cool thing to be you were a part of that.
Yeah, for sure. So at that time it was President Donald Trump who came and addressed the team. He went to both locker rooms, and he was there for the coin flip. And
that's got to be just like a like I got cold chills, and I'm not even like I wasn't even in the room. You know what I mean? So I imagine like regardless of your political ties or not, like being at that prestigious of a game, having the president come in, that's got to be pretty neat.
Yeah, no,
right?
it's just a different game.
And then
overall.
you're also playing at the Eagle Stadium,
right?
You know, on top of that, so playing in an NFL stadium, that's got to be sick too. So transfer back to WKU, 2021.
Yeah, 2021. So transfer back to Western Kentucky in 2021. Finished up my football career. At that point I had 3 years left to play. So I thought I was going to be, you know, there for the long haul and things like that, and finishing up my academic career. But things changed. Things happen. So I only played 1 season at Western Kentucky. It wasn't how anybody planned it, but like we said, make that pivot and started my business career after that 2021 football season and came on to work with you at the end of 2021.
I literally remember the day that you called me. It was like, hey, we'll go to meet and we're going to talk. And I'm like, all right, you know, because little backstory, we'd already talked about him, even if he was going to continue to play, coming in and working part-time, learning the business, which is very similar to what I did when I was working before for Ron. You know, he was like, hey, when you're home for baseball or from baseball, learn the business, those types of things. And then it just transitioned very quickly into a full-time thing. And I'm, you know, as I've said before, always indebted to him and grateful for that. When you came in and you were like, my football career's over, I'm ready to work, I was like, heck yeah, dude. I was scared to death because I had never had nobody that worked with me in that regard. So I was like, all right, well, now it's a newfound pressure because I got to make sure that I'm doing the thing so that, you know, people continue to come in the door for Biggs Financial so that he has as much opportunity from me that he doesn't have to worry about. Like, so it added a lot real quick. But I remember, like, you left and I was like, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. You know what I mean? Like, I was so fired up. Do you have any regrets about your college football career?
I don't. I really don't.
What was the best part about your college football career then?
The best part about my college football career is the relationships I made with people from all around the country. I have friends from California, from Mississippi, from, you know, different parts of the world that I am, you know, like this with. So I talk to those people every day.
I know.
And I love them to death. So
literally, that is the one thing when people ask me, like, do you miss baseball? Do you miss whatever about being a baseball player or being an athlete? I'm like, number one, I think we all miss competition because, like you said, that gets your juices flowing. You're working towards a direct goal. So, like, I want to go beat that guy. Like, that's one thing. But the main thing is the relationships. And what I think is so neat, like you said, there are people from all over. I've got friends to this day, too, from, you know, the West Coast, from Latin America, from, you know, the Northeast, all over the place. And it's so cool, and I think you can probably speak to this, too. When you text them or you call them or you FaceTime or you see them in person when you have a chance to, you're like taken right back to maybe a certain moment in time or like a certain season. You can remember like the smallest little things. And I think that's what it's all about, right? The relationships in anything are the best part. But I'm glad you said that because that's when I tell people too, what I miss the most is all about the relationships. Because those people are like brothers to you. You know, you're living in, especially you during COVID, you had 2 roommates at the time, is that right?
Darius and Chance. Yeah.
And so, like, y'all really couldn't go nowhere. Yeah. But, like, for us, you know, that was when I was playing, it was pre-COVID. So, like, but we're on a bus together for 14-hour bus rides. We're in the locker room together for a 140-game season. Like, those are your brothers, right? And so it's so cool to see how those things play out. And I've even had, you know, former teammates become clients, and I'm sure you're the same way. And just the way that you go in separate directions, but, like, when you talk to them, you're still taken right back to that moment.
For sure.
And then, so you started in 2021, been with us since then. What's your favorite part about what you do now?
What I do now is that I actually get to help people. Like, I can see the value that I can add to someone's life with helping them on the financial side, you know, whether it's wealth planning or it's taxes, you know, you can really see the direct value that it adds to someone's life.
And I truly think that's why people gravitate towards you so much. Like, I'll walk past your office to go get some food or, you know, go to the bathroom or whatever. And I just always hear them in there just, you know, cutting up, having a good old time. And you know, I think that's one of the most important things for us as to stand out in what we do, because being financial advisors and accountants is, you know, it's not the most exciting thing. It's not the most flashy and sexy thing, right? Because it's just numbers and whatever. So you got to find that, whatever that is, that'll continue to keep you motivated. And if you can cultivate those relationships like you've done, it'll continue to allow you to move forward, build a bigger clientele, have all the, you know, all the goals and achievements that you have in mind for yourself. It's easier to attain when you take the time to help people. And I think that's why people gravitate towards you so much. What would you say for an athlete that is coming out of their career, whether they like the way that it ended or not? Because, you know, when my baseball career ended, I was sour grapes, you know, to the whole sport in general. The organization that I was with, the sport in general, for probably an extended period of time. I always followed my boys that were still playing, followed their careers individually, and wanted them to see them succeed and hopefully get the big league, sign contracts, do all that stuff, and still do to this day. We were talking about on the plane ride here yesterday, one of my former roommates, shout out Danny Jansen, is playing for the Red Sox now. Got people that are in the big league still, so still follow those careers. But for those first couple years following me getting cut from the team, like I said, I was sour grapes. I didn't want to watch baseball, didn't care about baseball, didn't care about the organization I was playing for at the time. Did you have that? And if you did, I guess how do you, and this is what I was getting back to, how would you tell an athlete the best thing to do to like close that chapter and move on to whatever's next?
Right. So one, I didn't have that sour grapes feeling. Like I said, I feel like I had a great career. I feel like I accomplished a lot.
Sure.
I didn't reach my ultimate goal, but I did a lot, and I'm proud of what I did.
And
I know I worked hard, when I did those things. So I'm not disappointed, but also I would encourage all the athletes that get to the point that I was at in 2021 to lean on their relationships and their interests they had the whole time that they were kids growing up, all those different things. It's like that's how I got to Biggs Financial. I leaned on the relationship I had 100%. With you. You reached out to me, but I knew you before. I played college football, so it's like think about all the things, all the people that supported you when you were in sports and things like that, and tell them I'm making a pivot. Like, help me get to this next step. 100%. I don't know exactly what I want to do if that person doesn't know, but please help me figure out what I want to do and how I can do it.
I think another thing too is the encouragement to try stuff, because a lot of people, they, whether they have bills to pay or not, they're just kind of, I just got to go get a job, put my head down, and not worry about anything else. Maybe, and not everyone's meant to be self-employed. Like, I don't think you and I coming out of baseball, going directly into it, we don't know anything different. That's the only way that you've earned an income since you stopped playing football. That's the only way that I've earned an income since I stopped playing baseball, is being self-employed. And even when you're self-employed, you're essentially the owner of your own business, even if you don't own the whole business, right? Because you're building your own clientele. You still got to go kill it and drag it home, all those things. And not everybody's meant for that. But so I just think it's so important for people. They get so like, I don't know, lack of a better term, is scared. They just go get a job and put their head down and don't try things. I think it's another point of athletes. Athletes have a lot of unique characteristics that allowed them to be successful in sports that I think they suppress when they go back into the business world. And obviously everything doesn't translate one-to-one, but, being resilient, working towards a goal, working with a team, like I said, and same for you. You're alongside a group of guys from all over the country, potentially different countries, and you're working together for one common goal. So working alongside a team is important. There's all kinds of skills that I think athletes suppress when they leave sports that's so important for them to go try these things and let their true characteristics play out in business. What do you think is a driving factor for you? What keeps you motivated day in and day out to do what it is that we do, knowing it's not the most glamorous and sexy thing? You know what I mean?
For sure. And I mean, this from me, but 100% my family. Like, I love my family. I spend most of my free time with my family. I have a wife, Bailey, and I have a daughter on the way. So that's what motivates me. I've seen my family sacrifice for me countless times. So I always want to make them happy. I always want to be able to provide for them no matter what happens. So that will always be my number two thing behind God, but always be something that drives me.
Well, what a beautiful thing. I don't know that I could top that, to be honest with you. I mean, that's beautiful. But that, honestly, that's who Jamale is, and that's truly what makes Jamale the great man that he is. And I'm so proud of you. I'm honored to work with you day in and day out. Like I said at the very beginning, I'd do anything in the world for you and your family, and you know that. But hopefully you guys learned something from Jamale today. This won't be the last time that Jamale and I jump on this camera and have a conversation. So really wanted to provide some insight as to who he is and his backstory of how he got here. But this man's just getting started. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to the Mark Big Show, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you, bro.